The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the vast expanse of Willow Creek Ranch, where the air was thick with the scent of dry earth and distant rain. Clara Montgomery stood on the weathered porch of her family's modest farmhouse, her hands clenched around the railing as she watched the dust cloud rise in the distance. It was a rider, approaching with purpose, his silhouette sharp against the fading light. She knew who it was before she could make out the details of his broad-brimmed hat or the gleam of his silver spurs. Ethan Caldwell, the richest cowboy in 3 counties, the man who held the fate of her world in his calloused hands. Her father, Henry Montgomery, had borrowed from him years ago, a desperate loan to save the ranch from the clutches of drought and debt. But Henry was gone now, taken by a sudden fever that had swept through the valley like a thief in the night, leaving Clara to face the consequences alone. At 24, Clara was no stranger to hardship. She had grown up on this land, learning to ride before she could walk, to mend fences and tend to livestock with a determination that belied her slender frame. Her auburn hair, tied back in a practical braid, framed a face marked by freckles from endless days under the sun, and her green eyes held a fire that had intimidated more than one suitor in town. But today, that fire flickered with uncertainty. The debt was insurmountable, $10,000, plus interest that had compounded like weeds in an untended field. The ranch, once a thriving spread of cattle and crops, now stood as a shadow of its former self, the barns sagging under the weight of neglect, the fields parched and cracked. Ethan's horse, a magnificent black stallion named Shadow, came to a halt at the edge of the yard, snorting softly as its rider dismounted with effortless grace. Ethan was a man of legend in these parts, tall and broad-shouldered, with a jaw set like granite and eyes as blue as the summer sky. He had built his empire from nothing, they said, starting with a single herd and expanding through shrewd deals and unyielding ambition. Whispers in the saloon spoke of his ruthlessness, how he foreclosed on farms without a second thought, turning families out into the dust. But there were other stories too, quieter ones, of his quiet generosity to widows and orphans, of how he had once ridden through a blizzard to deliver supplies to a stranded neighbor. "Miss Montgomery," Ethan called out, his voice deep and resonant, carrying across the yard like a command. He removed his hat, revealing tousled dark hair streaked with the first hints of gray at the temples, a sign of his 38 years. "I trust you know why I'm here." Clara stepped down from the porch, her boots kicking up small puffs of dirt as she approached him. She wouldn't cower in her own home. "The debt," she said flatly, her chin lifted in defiance. "You've come to collect, haven't you? Well, go ahead. Take a look around."